Razabane for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm delighted to have with me. I won't call him the knowledge for now. I'll call him the most dapper looking man in boxing, looking very astute and smart today. Spence, how are we doing?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed, Raj. Even better for speaking to you, my brother.
How's family? How's everybody?
Everybody's good. I mean, I got to quickly go out and do the school run in a minute, but I'm good. Family's good. Yeah. Everything good, right?
Everything's good. Everything's good, my man. Everything's good. Thank you. It's a bit of a quiet month. I know we've had some boxing last weekend with Lyndon Arthur back on winning ways. We've got fight camp kicking off next week. I just want to touch on one quick thing, just very quickly before I move on to the topic I really want to discuss with you. We were probably 2.5 weeks away from seeing Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury in the ring. The fight's been delayed. I'm not going to go into the details of why it's been delayed, but it looks like it's not going to take place till October. Does that favor either fighter? I know they've both been out more or less. Well, the last fight was against each other. So does it favor either fighter?
I think it'll be more favorable to Deontay Wilder, so he'll have more time to learn a bit more and pick up a bit more. Tyson Fury is Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury is a thesaurus of knowledge when it comes to boxing. He has a very, very genial IQ. So I think it's going to help Deontay Wilder more than it's going to help Tyson Fury, but also Tyson Fury can be in the right frame of mind to go and participate in this fight, but I think it's going to help Deontay Wilder a little bit more.
Do you think from kind of a mental and kind of perspective where Deontay Wilder has been gearing up, he stayed quiet throughout the press conference, he stayed very quiet recently, he's training very hard, he's learning new techniques, in his mind he's getting ready for this particular date, it's now pushed back for nearly 3 months or so. What does that do for his mind?
It's going to help him. You know what I mean? Because he's going to think, well, it was on this day that I was going to, you know what I mean, he was performing, no doubt, with Malik Scott, who has a very, very good boxing IQ. And it's going to prepare him more because he knows what he's going to have to face. You've been with a man that has beating you badly in your last performance against him, your last fight. Last time you stepped in the squared ring, you took a beating. So for a man to say you're coming back, he should be commended for doing this, number one, without a warm-up. And number two, he should be commended because it's seemingly like he's trying to learn something now. And I think the winner of this is going to be the fans, because we're going to get two of these men at their best. We're not going to get, there's no excuses to this. We're going to see two men at their best. And this is what makes this fight very fascinating.
Look forward to it. Spence, I've been speaking to you for God knows how many years, 5, 6 years or something. I've known you for, and you speak very passionately and openly about discrimination and racism. I'm not going to lie, but every time we do an interview, I do scroll down those comments, and I'm not going to lie, there are some comments that are so bad that I have to delete them because I don't want you to read those comments. That's how I feel sometimes.
Why you should leave comments? Why you should leave? Listen to me. Leave those comments that you believe are so bad, because all it is doing is this. It's like we have to show what this thing is. Do you understand? We have to show this disease, this illness, that is racism. And imagine that you speak out against racism and you get ostracized as being racist, because I will openly speak out about it, because who feels it knows it. So it is what it is. But please continue.
No, I'm obviously going to touch on the weekend. It was a massive day. I think more than 60% of the population in this country were tuned in to watching England. Hopefully, we're lifting that trophy. It didn't take place. Losses happen. And yes, we can criticize how we think the manager should have set the team up or who should have taken the penalties. But what was your reaction, obviously, the day after the game with everything that you were hearing about the players getting abused online?
Well, my friend, while I was watching the game, right? I was watching the game, and by no means am I, oh, sorry, mate. By no means am I a football person, right? I'm not at all, right? I'm not a football person. I'll be lying if I was to say I was. I have little knowledge on football, but on something like this that brings the solidarity of the country together, it was amazing. But, you know, as soon as penalties were missed by the players of color, the first penalty that was missed by a player of color, I ran into my bedroom with my wife and started crying because I knew what was going to happen off of the back of the failed penalties. And then Saku, that was just the icing on the cake because I know where we're living. And I know that this country has very covert racism. But give them an excuse to come out in their droves. That's why I get attacked regularly on these things, right? And I know it's because, and they said, no, it's not because you're black. Is it really? Right? So when you speak about something so vehemently and so passionately, and unfortunately, there isn't other people of color who are coming out and speaking so passionately about it, but now they'll speak about it passionately. But it's like they have been given the authority to speak about it by people other than themselves. So really and truly, when we're seeing these supposed black celebrities now speaking about how disgusting this racism is and blah, 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 it's only because the general consensus is speaking about how disgusting this racism is, right? There is only one race. And I'm going to keep on saying this. I'm going to say this. There is only one race. It is the human race. We are divided into tribes. We become tribal. That's what we become. We become tribal as human beings. So much so to the football. And how much have we become on something in sport that is meant to unite people has been very divisional. It's been divisional right throughout this European Cup. Raheem Sterling has been excellent. On the times it has been excellent, but it wasn't him that was getting on the front pages, right? So divisional. You can't tell me that it's not divisional. This is what I'm trying to say. Be celebratory of those men who are meant to be celebrated. All of those young men, Marcus Rashford, should be celebrated, not only for the things that he's done on the field, but the things that he's done off the field. But how quickly has it been forgotten? So I'm sick and tired of speaking about this thing because I'm that guy. I will speak about it. And then people think that, oh, you're racist. I'm asking anybody, please show me one racist comment that I have made. But what was it? I think it was Plato that said that the most hurtful thing to say is the unpleasant truth. So I'm just telling you the truth. But unfortunately, people don't want to see it through they're looking for their own spectacles. But they want empathy for other people. So if I'm saying to you that there is such a thing of global supremacy, there has been. From our books, our literature, that has been for centuries. So when you get somebody who goes against the grain, like myself, right? I've had great teachers. I've had great teachers in my life. You know what I mean? That showed me to be proud of being a human being, to be proud. A great man, Marcus Garvey, said that the black skin is not something to be ashamed of, but a badge of honor. I've had that. Many kids don't know this. So if you're seeing everything that has been stylized, that has been looked on to be European, you're going to look at Europeans as being great. So if I look on something that looks like myself now, I'm not meant to see the greatness in it. When I know that historically, biologically, and scientifically, my skin was here first. I rest my case. There was only one race. Do not divide us into anything but what it is. We should be together as one human family. And also the racism is not the England that I'm born into, right? Because to my paradigm, there is a paradigm shift that is going on right now. And it is the fear of the people of change. Who is it? Howard Wilson, the former Labour Prime Minister, said, "He who rejects change is the architect of decay. The only human institution that regresses on progress is the cemetery." Right? So if you deny progress, then you're dying. We have to constantly move forward, and we have to do that in love. Because my white brethren, not my white friends, my white brother, I got loads of white friends, but my white brothers were absolutely disgusted by the behavior of the so-called fans, right? And the comments that were made on social media towards the black players. Now, this is how hypocritical they are, because they were out, and it's your choice. If you want to boo the guys when they're taking a knee, don't boo when they're scoring. They booed Raheem Sterling vehemently prior, but as soon as he scores, they're screaming out like they weren't just booing him. This is how hypocritical these racists are. You're a hypocrite. Be consistent with your racism. Don't just be a fair weather racist. Be upfront with it. And then me, you could be cool. Because you know what? I know where I stand with you. Simple as that. It's disgraceful. But these racists, like you're getting the Sun newspaper, who jumps up and said, "Oh, we stand with you." The Sun newspaper. Me being a kid growing up, that was the most racist paper out. So we're living in this hypocritical society. I'm sick and tired of it. And I'm not going to try and fight racism, because I'm saying, listen, I deal with people how they deal with me. I don't care where you're from. I don't care your religious denomination. I don't care your sexual practice. I don't care your skin tone. I don't care. If you're showing me love, do you know what I do? I show you it back. And if you're not showing me love, I wish you a good day anyway. But I just know I can't do nothing with you.
Spence, I'm not sure if you saw Gary Neville's comments a day or so after the England defeat, and he looked and he spoke about the government leadership that we have and the lack of empathy, support, and how serious they take this matter. Has that been, do you think, further an issue that when people look at the top level and saying, looking at the top level of this country and remarks coming out from certain people from this country, the lower people below look at it and say, well, I can get away with it as well now?
Well, you have to look at how racism is really, everything comes from the top, goes down. It doesn't go from the bottom and go up. Very rare. It's from the top and it trickles down. So when you're seeing Priti Patel turn around and say that it's a right of expression to boo players when they're taking a knee. It's a right of expression. So what you're doing, you're condoning that behavior. Now, and the next thing, I'm not into Black Lives Matter, you know. I'm just going to be real. The Black Lives Matter organization, I'm not into it one bit. Forget that one. Black Lives Matter as a narrative, I'm into. Why? Because I'm black and I really do matter, right? And I could show you economically, socially, you know what I mean, politically, that black people at the lower scale of the spectrum. I was the one that spoke out vehemently about certain organizations, especially within sport, that they should have black people within their committees. I got murdered for it. But let me tell you this. And let me just pick up a guy, Les Roberts, who's a jeweler down at Hatton Gardens, who said, I was walking at Hatton Gardens, he stopped me, he said, "Spencer, do you know how much you mean to us?" And I was taken aback, you know. He said, "Do you know how much you mean to us? Like they're seeing someone like you speak the way that you speak, that you're not cooning, you're not doing no Uncle Tom nonsense. You speak the way that you speak and you know you're boxing and you're proud of being who you are. So when I see things like that, that makes me stand up right as well. That gives me pride." So when you're seeing this, or how many racist comments has the Prime Minister of this country, Boris Johnson, said. Not just about black people, about Piccadillys. Do you know how racist that terminology was? Right? With their watermelon smiles. Racist. But we're not going to pull him on that. You know what I mean? Muslim women looking like letterboxes. Come on, man. I'm black and Muslim. But we don't pull it. So obviously it's coming from the top and it trickles down. Racism is by design. You don't believe me? Go read the history books. Go see on the terminology what they deem black people to be. Go check it out. Don't believe me? Go check out the American Constitution. That black people were seen as 3/5 of human. That means we were lower than cattle. What, these things don't trickle down? Go check that Muhammad Ali became world heavyweight champion of the whole entire world by beating Sonny Liston February 25th, 1964. But as a person of color, he wasn't even allowed to vote. Think about it. That's 70 years ago. That's not a long time ago, you know? 60 years ago. Do you think that's a long time ago? So when we tackle these things, this is what people need to understand. When we are talking about racism, I'm not speaking to white people of today. I'm speaking of white people of today if you're perpetuating the mindset of what oppression was back then. And what I saw on the weekend was you perpetuating the mindset of the people back then. So we have to stop this nonsense. Because I guarantee you, if there was a basketball match in America or American was in the Olympics, American basketball team was in the Olympics, right? And no matter how racist, and the racism in America is diabolical, right? You were to see if there was a I don't know, a basketball shootout and 3 black basketball players were to miss. And it was a team that was predominantly white. I don't believe that they would have had that kind of same rhetoric that was aimed at the 3 players on the weekend. Like the N-word being tossed around religiously. I was seeing videos of black kids who were coming back from the football match getting punched up by white kids because that's nonsense. And I'm not even gonna go on that like, oh, well, the first white person. I see that's nonsense because these things are divisional. Like I said, we are one human family. We need to start acting as one human family. And that's it. I could speak about this for days. And like I said, when you're saying like you go through the comments and you remove the comments, leave those comments. Leave those racist comments because you're showing me even more so how hypocritical and how evil these people are. So leave it there. This is water for ducks back. It doesn't affect me. I'm living good. You know what I mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God has blessed me with life, beautiful children, lovely home, fantastic woman in my life. You know what I mean? My mother's still here. In fact, tomorrow my mother's 88 years old. Alhamdulillah. My mom's still here, bro. You know what I mean? So, no. We got to stop this. And what we need some strong men to go out and talk about this thing vehemently, to oppose this system. And also we need to open it up to dialogue, right? Certain white people just don't know about racism, right? Doesn't make them racist, but they don't know about racism. And they also don't know the guidelines to the do's and the don'ts. Because if they did, then certain things would be more on the don'ts than the do's, right? And this is for everyone.
Spence, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time and sharing some wise words. I know we said a few moments because you got to pick your children up and we can.
100%, bro. I was just looking at the watch as well. So I've got back. Always a pleasure. And like I'm saying this here, right? The sooner that we realize this thing of solidarity, because solidarity in numbers brings forth change. Unfortunately, people are scared to be solidified with people that they don't know. But the true enemy of ignorance is intelligence. So we should be doing our best to do the things of intelligence and keep ourselves as far away of the burden of earth, and which is ignorance. And all racism is ignorance. That's all it is, right? And if if you are that ignorant person, all you have to do is seek knowledge, right? But then there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge, you know that a tomato is a fruit, but wisdom knows that you can't put that tomato on your fruit salad. All right. Assalamu alaikum.
IFL TV, thank you very much.